Did China sink a ship in the South China Sea? Trump bans investment in companies linked to the Chinese military. And Henry Kissinger is back, and he wants us to cooperate with China. That and more on this week's China News headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark. You should be using a VPN like Surfshark to protect your identity whenever you go online. The U.S. military may be changing its operational calculations if new reports about Chinese missiles are true. Back in August, China launched a barrage of medium-range missiles into the South China Sea. It was viewed as retaliation for a U.S. spy plane that flew over a Chinese naval drill just days before. Those missiles are what China calls aircraft carrier killers. It's all part of China's peaceful claims to the entire South China Sea. According to U.S. defense officials, those missiles landed somewhere here, between China's Hainan Island and the disputed Paracel Islands. At first, it was believed those missiles just hit water. But now, according to a PLA insider speaking to the South China Morning Post, those missiles may have actually hit a target ship. If that's true, it's the first time China has actually demonstrated its anti-ship missiles can actually hit a ship. Of course, there's still a lot of unknowns. We don't know how many missiles were fired, whether the target ship was moving or how fast, and whether we can believe the former PLA colonel who said this happened. Because maybe he's just trying to scare the U.S. military. Good luck with that. But one thing is clear. Despite the Communist Party's calls for U.S.-China cooperation instead of decoupling, their aim is to dominate the United States by any means necessary. And the U.S. needs to adjust its strategy accordingly. Wait, I know how the U.S. can fight China's anti-ship missiles. With giant Jaeger robots. But economic decoupling is probably a better route than military conflict. Speaking of the U.S. and China decoupling, despite the Trump administration having a lot on its plate right now, experts say the administration is still moving forward with plans to decouple the U.S. and China's economy. Trump recently issued an executive order that will ban U.S. investment in several companies tied to the Chinese military. Raising the question, why were U.S. companies investing in companies tied to China's military? The executive order says China is increasingly exploiting United States capital to resource and to enable the development and modernization of its military, intelligence, and other security apparatuses. That includes weapons of mass destruction, advanced conventional weapons, and malicious cyber-enabled actions against the United States and its people. According to White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, these 31 Chinese companies represent at least $500 billion in market capitalization. God, that's a lot of money. Maybe I should invest in companies tied to the Chinese military. And if that sounds stupid, don't worry, there's a lot of stupid going around. Despite everything we know about the Chinese Communist Party, U.S. companies just can't seem to quit the China market. This is the actual first line to that article. For some American businesses, having an office in China may help them weather the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Think about that. They're looking to the Communist Party to help them deal with the economic hit caused by the coronavirus pandemic, which was caused by the Communist Party's lies and cover-ups. At least that's slightly better than this. German companies saying we're better off thanks to China. In what world could that possibly be true? Both the U.S. presidential election outcomes still in progress, many U.S. elites are hoping that Biden wins and that Biden would reset U.S.-China relations to what they were before the Trump administration, which is why the specter of Henry Kissinger has risen once again, calling on Biden to restore relationships with China. I mean, if the state-run People's Daily is praising Kissinger, his ideas must be great for the Chinese Communist Party. Kissinger made his remarks at the Bloomberg New Economy Forum. Fun fact, you can join the conversation on the New Economy Forum using WeChat. a Chinese mobile app that the US government has called a national security threat. Anyway, Henry Kissinger said unless China and the US can cooperate, the world will slide into a catastrophe comparable to World War I, which is insane. America's engagement with and investment in China are precisely what have enabled China to fund its militarization, which at this point could lead to World War III. And who was it starting in the 1970s that kept pushing for closer US-China engagement? Hey, if there's another world war, I wonder which side Germany would be on. This week was the one-year anniversary of when Hong Kong police laid siege to the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Police were trying to arrest hundreds of protesters who got trapped inside the university. The police greeted unarmed protesters with brutal force, and they turned the school into a war zone. At one point, protesters had to rappel out of the campus to be picked up by volunteers on motorbikes. Just one more reason why school can be a dangerous place for young people. The Chinese regime's crackdown on Hong Kong is a stern warning about what might happen in Taiwan if the Chinese Communist Party seized power there. And a growing US-Taiwan alliance is making such a scenario less and less likely. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made the unprecedented move to come out and say Taiwan is not part of China. China responded by warning of action, whatever that means. Only Henry Kissinger can save us now. But there is some good news for relations between China and the UK, at least. A British diplomat saved a Chinese college student from drowning. This is British Consul General in Chongqing, Stephen Ellison, jumping into the water to save the woman. Someone throws in a flotation device and then Ellison swims her to that, and they're both safely pulled out of the water. The woman later recovered. This video went viral in China, and the 61-year-old is being hailed a hero. Unfortunately, all that goodwill between China and the West has since been wiped out after Beyond Meat launched their plant-based minced pork in China. Not gonna end well. And this episode has been sponsored by Surfshark. Whenever you go online, you should be using a VPN like Surfshark to protect your identity, because governments and your internet service provider may be watching you. And while protecting your identity online is important, there's also another advantage to using a VPN. You can access websites that are only available in other countries. For example, let's say you want to watch a movie about giant Jaegers, like Pacific Rim. But you can't access Pacific Rim on Netflix in the US. So, use Surfshark to switch your location to Canada, log in again, and there it is. Of course, these giant robots are just futuristic science fiction, which is why Pacific Rim was set in the year 2020? I'm not sure whether I'd want that this year or not. Probably not, if it comes with an attack on all of humanity by interdimensional monsters. Anyway, if for some reason you don't want to watch Pacific Rim, there's tons of other movies and TV shows that you can only watch if you're logged into Netflix in another country by using a VPN like Surfshark. And with one account, you can connect as many devices as you want. Try it out with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And Surfshark has a special discount for China Uncensored fans. Go to surfshark.com/uncensored and use the code UNCENSORED to get our special Black Friday deal. It includes 84% off a 2-year plan and 4 extra months for free. Click the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.